Well, hello, Internet. So nice to see you. We had a series of most incredible technical problems that one day I will recount, but not today. But it's ridiculous. Okay, and so we are up slightly late, but we are going to move pretty fast anyway. So, hello, everybody. If you are here, if you're watching us, say hi in the chat and let us know from where you are. We want to know from where you are. If you are US, from Europe, from anywhere else in the world, just say your name and where you are from. And in the meantime, let me introduce the young virtuoso, master of speed guitar, okay? The person who can apparently invent incredibly creative tapping lick with ease. Okay, let me introduce you guys to Johan Tillgren. Hello, Johan.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. So, you were telling me, and I totally stole that line to make the title of this live stream, that the guitar is a piano in disguise. So, please,
Yes,
enlighten
so
us on this.
yeah, so when we were talking about the topic of this live stream, I sort of said about tapping. Yeah, it's kind of like, when I think about tapping, it's kind of like piano in disguise. It was kind of a joke, like, haha, funny joke, and then it became the title of the whole live stream. So now we have to prove to people why it's true. But it's true because, like you said, I think there was email, each string on guitar is basically like a 2-octave piano. So you have 6 pianos if you play a 6-string guitar, and you sort of play them in parallel, which is pretty cool. And what we don't want to do is just copy stuff and make it so that it sounds exactly like piano. We want to make it cooler so we can beat the piano players and play even cooler things on guitar. But the basic main point is just thinking of it more melodically rather than just thinking of it as triads. And I don't think there's anything wrong with triads. The Van Halen 80s metal stuff. It's not like I think that's bad. It's more that you can think of it more like making melodies and making cool stuff with it. So that's the basic idea. So what I usually start with is just visualizing the scale on one string. So if we play in A minor, for example, we have the A minor scale on one string. So I'm basically starting on the 5th fret. And we have 7th, 8th, etc. And then for all of these notes on the entire string, you can create all kinds of cool stuff. Just with the left hand, you can do legato stuff. But the problem with legato is it's pretty limited in pitch range, so you can't really stretch that far, or unless you have super hands. But with tapping, we can do all kinds of cool things, just like you could do on piano, where you play some notes here and then you add another hand or whatever. So you can do bigger stuff. I have a PDF for this, and I think it's in the chat on YouTube and Facebook, so you could probably download it there.
And I'm going to put the link in there. I'm going to put the link in both places immediately again for people who need it. So let me just give a second, guys, but it's going to be there. In the meantime, you can keep going the explanation.
Yes. So the first concept is to think of chords as not just triads, the typical 1, 3, 5, like A minor, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. It sounds great. I love triads. But the cool thing you can do is just add another note. So I think I did this on the live stream last year, so I'm kind of repeating myself. But if you have A, and then you have the C, and then you have the E. By the way, can you hear my guitar? Yes, great. So you have the A, C, E in the A minor, then you add the B note here on the 7th fret, and then you have an A minor at 9. So you do. And it immediately sounds cooler. So that's one thing you can do. You can, basically move that around for whatever chord you're playing. Then the next example, this is also in the PDF. You can do an add 11, which is adding the 4th note of the scale. So we can add the D note. And to make this practical to play, I moved the arpeggio up. So we started with basically a first inversion A minor, and don't worry about the terms if you're unsure about the theory. Just you can find all the examples in the tab. So we're starting on the C, and then we have an E, and then we have an A, and then we just add the D in between on the 10th fret. So we have immediately sounds much cooler. So yep, that's another example. And then we also have, you know, A minor 7, where we add the 7th. So in this case, I moved it up again. So we have E on the 12th fret on the first string, and then we have A, and then we have C. And then we just add the G on the 15th fret. So we have. So this immediately gets you.
Can you play all of those at half the speed? Because I can follow, but I'm sure a lot of other people will be like, that's a touch too fast. Just the lyrics, just lower. I know they have the PDF, but just the link, just lower, please.
Yes. Okay. So this last one, you play. Start with the 12th fret, and then 15, 17, 20. So I actually usually start with the lowest note. So I don't start with the tap usually, because that's kind of common, I guess. But I usually start with a pull-off, and then I do the rest. Hammer on, tapping, pull-off, pull-off. So then just back and forth. And then same for the other ones. So, oops. So those are the arpeggios. And the cool thing is also when you're switching between them, that's kind of like a jazz player switching chords on one chord. So you can start with the add 9, A minor add 9, then you do the A minor add 11, and then A minor 7. So you do, and you slide up. So it's like, oops. Oops. And if you make mistakes, as long as you're in the scale, it still sounds good. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That even if you make mistake, it still sounded good. So everybody relax. Okay, it's nice. It sounds pretty impressive actually when you slide up. I mean,
Yeah.
Can you show it again?
Yeah, sure. So slow. Start with the pull off. You slide with the first finger. So it's a little bit of a half nightmare visualizing it, because you have to visualize like 4 notes at the same time. But then again, piano players do it, so we should too. We should also be able to do that.
Nice, very nice. Everybody watching us, write us what you think about this in the chat, because we have several leaks to go through, and we want to have an idea what you guys like. So in the chat, tell us, thumb up, thumb down. Okay, is it something new? Is it too much like Van Halen? Okay, what's gonna be great? So essentially, you're just going through the inversion of the chord on a single string and adding an extra note, and just pretty much just picking the note that it's under your finger. You're not fussing too much about the note choice. It's just
yeah.
I mean, here you could have picked. Probably need more distortion like this. Here you could have picked the 6 too, but the 6 is a pretty harsh note, and so in that case you pick the 7th. But yeah, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. What's next?
Yeah. So the next example is similar concept. It's just a variation. We can go through it fairly quickly. It's just showing how you can move it around. So if you do, let's say you play the A minor, add 11 here, the 8, 10, 12. Then you can easily slide into the D note here. So you play and then play an D minor, add 9 instead. So you can go back and forth. So it's a new thing. And then same thing there. You can move up there, inversion. And then the last version here is you can also do a slide with the first finger. So if you want to play, let's say we have the D note here, then you have the A note, then you have the F note. You can also slide down to the 12th fret, so you don't have to necessarily legato everything. You can do slides too, so you do. So you can do that for all kinds of things, and it creates a cool sound that you can use. So so that's basically it. And then the next, this one is more, I guess, melodic line, more piano-like. It's example 3. Here we're moving to A Lydian, and this is more of a, we're going to use some open strings, and we're going to see more of the scale. So this starts with an A major add 9. So we're going to do open string, then we're going to play 5th fret. So open string, hammer to 5th fret, then hammer to 7th fret, and then tap the 9th fret. So we have so this one you can improvise with and just, and then after that you can just move the tap note. So 11th fret, so you have the sharp 4, and then 12th fret, so you have the 5th, so then you have, yeah, you got it. So, and then you can move that around to, different strings, same thing. So kind of like reminds you of some Joe Satriani stuff. I think he does some of that stuff. But yeah, it's basically just seeing all the notes on one string, which I'm a huge believer in when playing solos and improvising. Yeah, and then of course you can, instead of doing open string, you can do like we did before. You add a note. So we play an A major at 9. So we have 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, 12th fret, and then just change the top note. So 12, 11. You can just keep increasing the distance and get all kinds of cool stuff. So the important thing here is not the specific arpeggio, but just thinking, just okay, what can you do with tapping that is just not the same, 3 notes, basically.
Well, yeah, when you do this thing that you're doing right now, to move in the right hand, it sounds like you have essentially a chord on the left and a melody on the right. So you could think of a melody here, and you can have the left hand trying to outline the chord progression. So potentially one can arrange a whole song this way. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
It could be a bit hard, not saying no. It would be a bit laborious, let's say. You'll have to think about a few things, but it would be possible to arrange a song or a melody this way. So
totally. Yeah.
That's the thinking behind that. I mean, melody on the right, chord on the left. But I mean, it doesn't have to be this way. It's just one possible way of thinking about that.
Yeah, and you could also do, octaves. So you just do, just tap the octave. It sounds kind of funny, I guess, but in the right context, it could sound really cool. So
it's video gamey. It sounds like a video.
Yes. So if you want that effect, that's great. Yeah, so that's it. And most of these examples are still on one string, and we're going to get into some changing strings. This last example on one string, this is a line actually from one of my songs, shameless self-promotion. So this is example 5, which is basically an ascending melodic line that's going to start pretty low on the string, and it's going to go gradually up towards higher notes. And the principle here is we have 2 notes in the left hand, so 2 adjacent notes, and then we're going to have 1 note in the, I think I'm a bit out of focus here, yeah, and then 1 note in the right hand. So this one starts, it's in E minor, and we're going to start on the D note here, and then we're going to have the F sharp and the G notes. So it's just going to be a simple, which in and of itself, it's not very special. It's just, a couple of notes. But then what we're going to do is we're going to gradually move one hand up in one at a time. So we're going to start with moving the right hand up one step in the scale. Then we're going to move the left hand 1 step up in the scale. And the right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. So they're kind of walking up. And when you do that, you get kind of a cool effect. So it's going to sound kind of like this. So we start here. And right hand. And then left hand. Right hand. So you just have a long melodic line. And I'm just following the E minor scale on one string. So it's no like special notes. It's just E minor. But yeah, that's another way you can do it. Just figure out something.
Yeah, time ago I invented a similar lick with the idea of alternating the hands. Actually, one of the first article I published online was on that. The idea was similar to yours. And the idea was to take a pentatonic scale. Okay, so in basic version, I took a pentatonic minor, okay, and then played on the 3rd string. So on the 3rd string, then open note is G, and it's a note in the pentatonic minor, but it's the 7th, so it's not super stable. So the lick doesn't sound too stable. But the idea was to take the open string, 2 notes on the left, 1 note on the right, and then move up every time 1 note. Up like that. So sounds this way. So the idea again is, you guys don't have this in the PDF. If you want to understand this, you have to pay attention. The idea essentially is, again, pentatonic scale on a single string, open string note must be in the pentatonic, 2 notes of the pentatonic on the left hand, 1 note on the right. Start with the tapping, go down. When you come up, the right hand moves up 1 note in the pentatonic scale. When you come up, the left hand now moves up 1 step in the scale. Now the right hand moves up, so left hand moves up, right hand moves up, left hand moves up, right hand moves up, left hand moves up. So 1 at a time. Then finish with something like that, a slide, whatever. It takes a little bit to learn the idea of moving the 2 hands at a time, but since you're moving 1 hand at a time, it's not really particularly hard. It's not like moving 2 at a time. Okay, it's less of a visualization nightmare, like you were saying. And the difference between me and Johan is that Johan stays on the same on the same configuration a couple of times, 2 or 3, 4 times, whatever. Which sounds cool, by the way. I didn't think about that. Okay, I move every time. Okay, but it's easy because again, you're moving one hand at a time. You have the open string. The open string really. All the movement happen when you're on the open string. Because move, 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 move. Okay, it's similar. It's a similar idea. I'm mentioning it because you have the similar idea, and so there's more than one variation of this. But I like that we were thinking of something similar independently here. Okay.
I might have seen that article and installed it, but I don't remember it, so I don't.
Yeah, well, it was so many years ago. I think I published this in 2014.
Yeah, I wrote this before 2014, so okay.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think.
no, I mean it's okay. It doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm not I'm not claiming paternity or anything. It doesn't matter where it comes from because regardless, after all this time, you would have thought about this by yourself. It's just cool that we were thinking in a similar way here. So anyway, those are two different versions of the same thing. So the other thing is this: is that Johan likes minor, the Lydian, all the modes, the half steps in it. I prefer to have more wider intervals and less half step, more pentatonic stuff in my playing. But the thing is, all those ideas work either way. They sound very different depending on what scale or chord you apply it, but the idea is the same. And so you guys could take those ideas and rewrite them for your stuff. If you're more of a bluesy player, try this on a blues scale. If you're more of a jazzy player, try this on a Dorian scale or a Lydian scale. Okay? So that's the idea. Anyway, the digression. I'll give back the word to you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a great lick. I really like that. Cool. So I guess the next part is just adding more hands. No, I'm just kidding. Adding more strings. um, so maybe a couple of feet as well. So the next thing that I like to do, this is kind of hard to sometimes applying real music. You kind of have to have written the music or find some context where this works. So what we want to do here is combining two chords. So instead of just playing one arpeggio and changing strings, you can change into two arpeggios. So it becomes kind of like I don't know the theory term for this, but you outline two chords and then it becomes a new chord. So in this case, in this is example 6 in the PDF, I use A minor and B major. So I'm going to start with just a regular A minor triad. Then I'm going to change to the B string and play a B major triad. And this doesn't always work in all kinds of music snares, but in some snares it can sound really cool. And it sounds really, spacey. So, and then once you've done that, you just move to the next string, next string pair, and do the same thing. So A minor, and then B major. So. Oops. Kind of really cool. And usually if you go very fast, it sounds more, I guess, fusion jazz. So I would usually play more times per chord. So. So yeah, that's one idea you can use.
We have a question here that we could address. When it comes to tapping, which pickup position do you prefer, neck or bridge?
Good question. For me personally, I like the neck pickup, so I've been using it all the time now. It's just more smooth. But if you want more of the, I guess, edgy, like a sound that really cuts through, like a sword in the music, then I would do the bridge pickup just to get a specific sound. But for 90% of the time, I use the neck pickup. Tommaso, do you do something similar?
I use the neck pickup pretty much all the time. Actually, occasionally on a strat, I could use the middle pickup. Because the bridge can be pretty sharp. I mean, it's pretty trebly. The neck right now could be it's smooth, but the middle pickup occasionally, it's just the right balance of the two things. So the middle pickup tends to be neglected by most players, actually. Now, I have a guitar with 3 single coils. So what happens is that the sound is balanced, essentially. If, like you have a guitar with 2 humbuckers and a single coil in the center, the middle pickup is going to sound weaker than the other 2, unless you put a mini humbucker in there. So, but the idea is experiment. I mean, again, most of the time with distortion, I would use the neck too. It's just smoother. It's just cleaner in a sense. But it really depends on the sound you're after, the guitar you have, and the rest of the gear. Because some guitar do sound pretty good with the bridge pickup into distortion, even when you play lead stuff. So try, essentially, okay? But let's say if you're just getting started and you really cannot tell the difference, or you don't get the neck pickup first. Okay. But there is no rule. That's the thing. Or yeah, there's another one here. Do you use a lot of gain when you do tapping, or is there any other special amp setting one should use?
For me personally, depends on the style. If I play metal, then of course all the gain. But if you want a cleaner sound, kind of like Tommaso, when you're playing now, like more of a I don't know, rock fusion sound.
Yeah.
Edge
of breakup.
Yeah.
Edge of breakup thingy. Okay, again, I give it a little bit, but so this is distorted if I really hit on it, but it's fairly clean if I don't. And you can use anything. Indeed, actually, as a technical point, I'm pretty sure Johan will agree with that, is that at the beginning, try to do it without an amp. Okay, so just turn off the volume of your guitar. I don't know how much, I don't think you can hear anything from here now. But turn off the volume of your guitar and tap. Because the thing is, if you don't have a sound acoustically on the guitar, you're not going to get sound in the amp either. Okay, the amp cannot create a sound. It's the guitar creating a sound. So unless you have some sound coming out from here, it's not gonna work. So make sure it kind of works with the guitar off, with the volume off. Okay, now you cannot hear anything here because I have lots of stuff on this microphone that eliminates the noise. It's not a voice, so even if I do it, you cannot hear it. But that will be the idea. Then decide how much distortion do you want to get the sound you want. Now, granted, if you have more distortion, it's easier, okay, because it's more compressed. But if you like the clean sound, use a compressor instead, and that will help you, okay. But when it's great, but when you practice it, try to do it without the compressor. Right, with the distortion and without the distortion, but try to get the sound without the compressor too. Okay, because you need to know what's actually coming out of your guitar, and the compressor will just push up the volume of the weak notes, and so you need to know what's actually coming out. You need to be able to do it without the technological help, if you want. Otherwise, it just doesn't sound good. Okay, so it's this kind of balance. Okay, to make it sound better when you record, perform, play, distortion, compression. Yes. When you practice, go guitar into the amp and make it sound anyway.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing is, the more distortion you add, the harder the muting becomes. So it's easier to make a note, but the muting is harder. So with more power comes more responsibility, I guess. So what I do is I mute with my the palm of my hand here. So this one mutes all other strings except the one I'm playing. So the only thing available is that. It's kind of something you have to practice, and I guess this live streaming is more about the creative aspects about it, but that's how you get the distortion sound. But yeah. Also, if you want to record tapping with high distortion and you just can't get muting to work, I would use one of these, like what I guess it's called a string dampener thing that you just put on the guitar that mutes the string. This helps a lot with muting, especially when recording. Yeah, or use an old sock, preferably washed. Yes. So yeah, and that's it. And another thing that you can do with tapping to get a lot of ideas fast is to take a scale that you already know, like a 3-note string major scale or a pentatonic scale, and then just add tapping above it. And this is also nothing new, really, but it's it sounds good, and you can do a lot of creative things with it. So what I like to do is, instead of following the scale. So let's say we do a C major scale here. So C. Then I will add tapping note, but I will not add the one right above it. So if we end on an F here, I won't add the G, because I could, but it's going to sound pretty scalar, like pretty normal. So I would add something that's further up, so you get more of a jump in pitch. And this sounds really cool. You can get really cool stuff with it. So the example in the PDF, I do example 8 here. I add the 17th fret, so you get. So all the right hand things is just on the 17th fret. So 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. And then the left hand is playing the C major scale. So slow, it's. So it creates a pretty cool sound.
So here's a simple variation of that, because I like how Johan and I think alike, but slightly different. Because I like to doing the 3-note per string scale and the tapping somewhere higher. Okay, but for instance, I hate pull-offs in general. Okay, so when I do that, I do the tap. I go on the lower note of the scale, and I hammer on. Okay, which is that's what it does. Of course, you can do this going up too. It's harder. Okay, or something. Again, I hate pull-offs. Okay, so the left hand can do whatever you want. I mean, you can potentially even. Something like that. Okay, so just saying, guys, that when you see some of those ideas, there's always more variations, and you need to do these. You could check if you can play the same stuff in a different order or something that fits more your hands. Why do I hate pull-offs? Because they're harder. Okay, it's just that. if I have to choose between doing this, which is very nice and linear, etc., and doing this, which also requires more muting too, and pull-offs are always a slightly dirtier technique, I'll do the hammer-ons. I mean, that's what my hands feel. Then again, if the song require a pull-off, if that moment in music require a pull-off, I'm playing a pull-off. It's not that I don't. Okay. But on those licks, I also like trying to go opposite direction than the scale. So if the scale is going down, I like the note going up. If the scale is going up, I like the notes going down. Okay, so otherwise, again, it sounds too much like a scale. And while in the, if you invert the direction, it's more interesting to me. Okay, Johan, I'm letting you feel this other one for a moment.
Advice on practicing hammer-ons. I like to try hammer-ons with just the left hand. So basically, throw away your pick and just try this. If you do that 5 minutes a day, you're gonna get good at it. So, let's see. Any advice on practicing hammer-ons into a tap, like, yeah. I would do the same. Just try doing it, no picking, just practicing the left hand by itself. Because let's see here, I'm out of focus there. So because usually the problem is the left hand. The tapping is not hard. So just practicing hammer-ons, You can even do melodies like, just try doing different stuff with just the left hand. In the beginning, it won't be much sound at all, but eventually over time, you'll get it to sound really good.
I'm noticing how many people are asking in the chat about hammer-on and pull-off. Maybe when one of those live streams we should do let's clean up hammer-ons and pull-offs, okay? Or maybe I think there is this, I just hammer-on into a tap. I don't even know what that means, by the way. I mean, it's the thing I'm doing is I'm tapping first. Let me take this out. I'm tapping first, pulling off the lowest note of the scale, and then doing 2 hammer-ons, and then tapping again. So tap, pull off, hammer-on, hammer-on, tap, pull off, hammer-on, hammer-on. So I don't know what hammer-on into a tap actually means, but that's what I'm doing. And the people who have hammer-ons and pull-offs that are a bit clunky, or other thing. I mean, we have other questions here. So one idea, guys, would be this. I mean, what Johan just said, great. I'm just adding. I mean, like giving you a second idea. Would be to play something like this, and then picking it. Okay, and you play it a few times, and then later you do it with legato. Of course, at the beginning it doesn't sound the same at all, but the idea is to use the part where you were picking as a model, as an aural model for your legato. Why? Because most people, when they do legato, they do. Then they don't do. They don't go in time. So you play it in time with the pick a couple of times, then you play it in time with legato a couple of times, then you play picked again, legato, picked, legato, and you try to make the two as similar as possible. So the picked part is the model of the legato part, okay? It should sound, it cannot sound the same. It will never sound the same, but you try to make it as similar as possible in time and in volume. Okay, and constantly comparing this with the picked version tells you what are the weak notes and what are the notes that are going by too fast or too slow, etc. And then it's just repetition. Okay, you need to do this for quite a while, but your hammer on and pull off get better by doing this essentially. So I'm sorry, but the answer here is just practice, 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 because that's a physical thing. It's I mean that's some mental stuff. It's a physical thing. You need to get enough snap into your fingers, and your calluses need to be in shape. And the only way to do it is to repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay, it's the same for other technique like bends or vibrato. They're physical techniques. They require physical conditioning. You have to repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, we can give you all the tricks, but you cannot apply them until you repeat, repeat, repeat. That's the thing. Make sense? It's not theory. It's a different thing. Johan, what's next?
Yeah, so we have a couple examples. How much time we have? I know we started a bit late.
I
So
think we're gonna go a bit longer, honestly. So I think I'm gonna take another 10 minutes. I think people would prefer to have you explain the leak rather than not. Okay.
all right, cool. Sounds good. So yeah, next thing I like to do is to. This is, I mean, these examples get progressively more and more advanced here, but really the concept is similar to what we did before. This one is I call it the lightning fast pentatonic scale. Pentatonics are great. I like pentatonic scale. Only problem with pentatonics is it's really hard to play fast. So if you want to, I mean, you could do some, slash stuff or Europe, key Marcello, but eventually it's just really hard because it's a lot of back and forth. You can't really extend it like you could at a piano, for example. But there's a way to overcome this on guitar, which is that we are going to change the scale. So instead of playing like this is an E minor pentatonic. We're going to change it. So we're going to start 12th fret, then 15th fret, then we're going to continue on the strings. We're going to play 4 notes on this string. So it's 12, 15, 17, and then tap 19. So I guess it sounds better on the first string. So what I'm doing is just taking 3 notes with the left hand and then 1 note with the right hand. And this is the exact same concept as before with the 3 notes per string scale. You just make it bigger. And the cool. There's 2 ways you can do this. Either you can just go 1 string at a time. But what I like to do is, and what's called the lightning fast pentatonic scale, is when you make it into a scale by we're gonna skip strings. So we don't jump notes. We basically play it in order. So we're gonna play 12, 15, 17, 19. Then we're gonna jump to the D string, and we're gonna play the D note here. Continue the pentatonic scale, and then jump to the B string and play. So the whole scale is, which is the same as playing a regular pentatonic scale. It's the same thing. The hard part here is the left hand and just getting the good hammer on, which you have to practice. But this is it's just practice, and it's kind of an awkward motion to tap really hard like this. It's usually when you tap like this is the hard. This is easier, but this motion you have to practice. But when you do that, you get a pretty cool scale. Like try playing the pentatonic, picking it that way. Like, it's very hard. So. And then you can go, descending. Oops. And you just go back and forth. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that speed on the pentatonic is ridiculous. I mean, if everybody agrees with that, I mean, say it in the chat. But that's and like we were saying, Johan make it sounds easy, make it looks easy. It takes a little bit of practice to get there. Okay, let's say that. But it's true with this tapping idea, the pentatonic can be played way faster than in any other way that I know, at least. So if you're into super speed, that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't invent this. This comes from a bunch of guitarists who played this before me. But yeah, it's really cool thing you can do. Yeah. So yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna add a little thing here that if you guys are into pentatonic, there's another trick that you may like. And the idea is this: it's we all know the one shape of the pentatonic, okay? Or people call it the one shape, people call it the number 4 shape, and people call it. But everybody knows the basic shape of pentatonic, okay? So on the left hand, play it in A minor, so on the 5th fret. You're on the 5th fret. Right? On the right hand, imagine the exact same shape, but in E minor. And now you have the choice of 2 notes. Play with the 2 notes on the right. So what I'm doing again, on the left, I'm just playing an A minor pentatonic. On the right, I'm playing an E minor pentatonic, so at the 12th fret, same exact shape. So the visualization is easy because I have the 2 shapes on both hands. And you can go. You can change, you can play whatever you want, essentially. There's no set order. Okay, and it always sounds good, essentially. Okay, so that's, you can do different shapes on the left and the right. You can do different other scales in A minor and E minor, and the effect is different. It's just, imagine 2 scales and play them at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. My next example here. This is actually more I guess songwriting or harmony chord stuff. This one is where you play double 2 strings at the same time. So this one kind of requires you to throw away the pick or hold it in your teeth or whatever. Like that's pretty effective. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna tap 2 strings at the same time. And here I'm using a clean sound because it doesn't sound really good on distortion. So here I'm tapping the 12th fret on the E string and the G string at the same time. So you get a 6th, the sound of a 6th. And that's, something to practice, just trying out. But then the second part of this is we're actually going to do a pull-off. So if you don't like pull-offs, it's not going to be fun, but we're going to add a pull-off here. So we're going to hold another 6th in our left hand. So we're going to hold the C and the E. So we have E, G, C, G. And then the first step is to do one of the pull-offs at a time. So you do so the left hand the fretting hand just holds the note, and then the right hand does the tapping. But the really cool thing here is to do both pull-offs at the same time. So you tap and then pull off. So this is more of a voice leading thing, and this is a C major chord. You have C, E, G, and then the example here is to we're going to move the right hand up 1 fret, so we get F and A flat, and then we're going to change 1 note in the left hand, so we have the 10th fret, the 8th fret on the first string, and then the 10th fret here. So this is going to outline an F minor chord. And then you go back and forth. So. And then you can do variations like. Yes, this is totally the doorbell sound. It sounds like a bunch of doorbells, but that's something you can experiment with, and it's more of a chord idea. So it's basically just 2/6 and then going back and forth. So I guess you could do a bunch of variations on that too. I found 6th are pretty easy to tap. I mean, easier. It's still, requires a bunch of. I think the main thing I would practice here is just the force of hammering, because I don't know if you can hear it in the audio here, but you can kind of hear the wood of the guitar. Because if you just barely touch it, it's not going to work. So. Another thing you can do is pick a chord and then like a triad, and then do similar to what Tommaso said, what you said about having one thing in the left in the fretting hand and one thing in the right hand, and do 1 chord here and 1 chord here. So it sounds like a harp kind of. So I have a C major triad here, and then I do a G major triad here. So. Creates a pretty cool sound.
Actually, this last one, I'm impressed. Nice, very nice, very, very nice. It's good. Like it. I'm curious to hear the bonus keyboard tapping lick, the one at the end of the PDF. Could you play that?
Yes. Okay. So everything up until now was just to warm up. Here comes the fun part. This one is actually, there's even more fun stuff than this, but this one is a start. This one is we're gonna tap with 2 fingers in the right hand. So we're gonna tap the 15th fret here with our ring finger on the first string, and then we're gonna tap the 13th fret on the second string. So 15, 13. And we want to do it with 1 motion. So it's 1 motion. So that's the first part. And then the second part is we want to tap with our left hand as well. So I'm just going to briefly mute this now. So we want to tap with our pinky finger on the 12th fret of the first string. And I usually keep my index finger here just as to mute the strings. So tap with our pinky finger on the 12th fret, and then middle finger on the 10th fret of the second string. The same thing here, we want to make it as 1 motion. And now you may be thinking, shit, both of these things are on the same strings. How's this going to work? We're not going to do pull-offs here. This is going to be all hammer-ons. So we're going to start with the right hand thing, 15, 13, and then left hand. And then we just do it as a flow. So creates kind of a, I guess, video game sound, but also just a cool spacey sound. And that's a lick. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to move the right hand up and down to create another chord. So this is an A minor 7 chord. Then we're going to move the right hand 1 fret up. So you just keep doing it. And yeah, it creates a pretty cool sound. And the key to practice it is just to practice one hand at a time. So. But it's not super hard. It requires some practice, but it's since it's all hammer-ons, it's actually much easier than some of the pull-off stuff. Yeah, so that's the.
I'm just gonna put this comment on again. I mean, okay. Yeah, no, I mean it's true. It's matter of practice. That sounds cool. Sounds really cool. It's definitely impressive. But it does require that a certain amount of practice, especially having the muting.
Yeah.
Going on here. If we could do it this way, it would be easier, of course. But yeah.
Yeah.
But one can always put something to stop the string. But I mean.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Any closing remark, Johan? Anything as you want us to know? Anything you want to tell to the people watching live stream?
No, I mean one good thing you can do to just create your own tapping licks is just write out the entire 1-string scale and then just try playing along, making up your own stuff, and then just doing it more and doing a bunch of like just left-hand stuff, just hammer-ons. That's gonna help a lot. Because if you can't really get those ones, then the tapping is going to be hard. Because even if this is a tapping live stream, this is almost more about the left hand.
Yeah.
So
yeah. True. Very good then. Thank you, Johan. Before we close everything for you guys, those are all tapping licks, and a lick should be an idea. No, if you can learn the lick as it is, but a lick should be an idea, something that you take, modify, change a little bit, make your own. See how it feels under your fingers. See if that is the sound you want. Otherwise, change the scale. I've done something similar myself for pentatonic scales. Wait, there we go. Okay, and I collected 18 of the best ideas of the guitar heroes in this ebook here, which is 18 tips to make your pentatonic solo sounds professional. It's all based on the pentatonic scale. Of course, you can get this ebook and then transpose everything to Lydian. Just do the same thing on a different scale, or anything else. But if you want to sound like the guitar heroes of old, this little ebook here contains a lot of ideas. And again, those are not licks per se. There's more the ideas behind the licks so that you can write your own licks. So just pick this up. It's free. And it will give you something to chew on when you play your things. Okay. So again, it depends what kind of player you are, but whatever you do, I would recommend have a look at this ebook. And it's free. Okay, link in the description. Johan, thank you for coming today. And everybody listening to this, the PDF with the transcription of most of those links is in the chat. Okay. So you can go and as soon as it is finished, I'm going to put the link also in the comments so it stays in there too. But download it. Have an idea. One of the powers of Johan is to be able to go in and out of focus at will, or not really at will. Okay, but thank you, Johan, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this, and again, thank you guys for your patience because with the technical problem we started a bit late. But thank you, you guys are an amazing audience, and we're waiting for us. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And guys, until the very next time, enjoy.